Hi guys, this week our adventures have brought us to the New Brunswick capital of Fredericton. Here, we're going to spend some time chasing the elusive Musky. This week we have our good friend and Fishies contributor Ryan Wickholm with us. Ryan's a bit of a local muskie specialist. Because of the elusive nature of the muskie, we're going to maximize our chances. We're putting 2 boats on the water. The boys are behind us right now getting the Fish East Legend boat in the water. We're going to get out there and see if we can't capture some of these toothy critters. Ryan, are you ready?
I can't wait, man. The weather's looking fantastic. Let's see if we can get some of these fish to bite.
Let's go.
Yeah, I can catch them shallow, I can catch them deep. Muddy water or the back of the creek. Wind and rain to me, it's all the same. I make a living playing this game, and I thank the Lord above every time I can. I get to be a fisherman. Yeah, I'm a fisherman.
Once I get like 5-6 feet out from the boat, I speed up my retrieve a little bit, and once I get close to my leader, I swing it out and I bring it up a bit and let it hang on the outside turn, and then I speed it up as I go down, bring it up, let it hang a little bit, and speed up.
Okay.
But it's always good to kind of go down, because when they come up, we've got our fish here are very boat skittish. They do not like to hit in the figure 8 as much as other places. So that when they see you, they tend to take off. So if you can get your bait deeper down into the water on your figure 8, you got a better chance of getting it.
Okay, Ryan, we're spending the morning casting, but what percentage would you say, since you've started fishing muskie here on the St. John River, what percentage would you say you catch casting versus trolling?
I would say I'm easily at 75% of my total fish would be casting as opposed to trolling. However, this year has kind of been a funny year for me. I've caught a lot more fish trolling this year than I do in years past, but casting is still, in my opinion, the best way to target them in certain areas, especially like here where we're at these bridge piers. But trolling is definitely another tool in the toolbox, man. Like, you got to use it once in a while. We can definitely do some of that later if the fish aren't cooperating, but I would say about 75% of the time I'm casting.
Now, when we say we're casting for muskie, this isn't what most people are used to casting. This is a water wolf shadzilla made in Ontario. That bait is a good solid 4 to 5 ounces, just a massive bait to be swinging at the end of these rods. So this is definitely a little above and beyond what your normal casting experience would be, but these are the type of baits you need to get down in there to hook into these big muskie. We're out here casting for muskie this morning.
Ready?
Ryan, our local...
Come on.
Our local muskie hammer has just hooked into the first fish of the day. And
Nice little guy.
nice little guy, great way to start the day. Ryan, since you're the expert, you just tell me what you need me to do with this fish, and
We'll hold the net. Just hold the net like that. The big net works as a live well for these fish. Keep it over the side of the boat, and I'll try to do everything with the fish still in the water. So I'll probably inhale the bait.
muskie have been in this New Brunswick system for a little over 40 years. They came down through an accidental introduction from Quebec, and the St. John River has rapidly turned into a world-class muskie fishery, producing multiple fish in the 50-inch range over the last few years. And the catch and release these muskie anglers are practicing has really paid dividends. There's guys who have a number of fish where they've recorded them year after year. Same fish, same markings, and to preserve such an incredible creature. Ryan's got his bait out. Dig down deep in this massive net.
She is bleeding a little bit, so I'm not going to keep her out of the water long. I'll get her up. I'll hold her up for you.
Beautiful.
Nice little St. John River muskie. Hopefully we can come out and find a much bigger one. I'm going to get her back in the water as quick as I can. And away she goes.
Nice job, Ryan. Great way to start the day.
That's a good way to start the morning, for sure.
When winter arrives, the temperature drops. And here in the Maritimes, our excitement rises. We embrace the adventures that cold weather brings, like new discoveries with old friends, a hot plunge on a chilly night, familiar faces in cozy new spots, and fun days that become chill nights. In New Brunswick, we know how to do winter.
So usually what you want is a smaller leader for casting, because when you're doing a figure 8, you want to get as close to the leader as you can. So when you're doing your figure 8, you want that bait to be right behind your long, you know what I mean? You don't want any slack in it when I pull my figure 8 around. And it's just easier for casting purposes. I stick to like 12 inches, maybe 9 inches. For trolling, I like to go 2 feet to 3 feet. Mostly in case a fish gets wrapped up in it when it's fighting. It's not going to get cut. It's just fluorocarbon, it's not steel or anything. But that's really the only reason why we use a bigger leader trolling as I would casting. Just makes it easier.
What are these leaders as far as weight goes?
So these leaders here, I made mine. This is 130 fluorocarbon with Mustad Stay-Lock snaps. These are the snaps that you want for leaders. This is the one, the best on the market in my opinion.
And what are you using for crimps on these?
So I just use stainless steel barrel crimps. I double them up for trolling, and for casting I single crimp.
Okay, and I see you're using, is that just standard shrink tubing?
Yeah, that's just more of aesthetics for me. I put a little shrink tubing on once in a while if I can. Same with these. This green thing here is called a wire loop protector. It's more aesthetics more than anything, but it's in theory supposed to prevent the snap from getting pulled hard, or the swivel from getting pulled hard and breaking through the fluorocarbon.
Okay. And you do something else special, Ryan, that we're going to get into a little bit later on when we switch to trolling, but we can talk about it real quick for a second and we'll show everybody later. You started making your own baits.
Yeah, I started making my own crankbaits last winter. I make 8 to 10 inch trolling crankbaits out of western red cedar. I cut them out by hand, sand them down, and yeah, I started experimenting with it this summer and they started catching fish, so I'm pretty stoked about it. Excited. It's awesome when you catch a fish on something that you made from scratch.
And these are something that you're going to be putting to the market at some point?
I'd like to eventually, yeah, after they pass all the tests. So far they've been passing the test with flying colors. I'd like to get some out there to a couple of my friends and people in Ontario and some places, see if I can get some real big fish on there. I got some nice ones here. I've got some mid 40-inch fish on my lures, but I'd like to see someone get a 50-incher somewhere too. That'd be awesome. Could do it here, right? You could do it here. But this year, I think he started. They're made by the same company, Waterwolf. I think he calls those his flip side flat tubes, and they've had really good success on them this year.
It's got two different.
It's got two different. Yeah.
You normally go nose, or do you go up in the back of the head?
I'll go nose if I'm going to cast it.
Yeah.
And pull, and then I'll go on the top if I'm going to jig it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not marking any fish on bottom right now, so I'm going to cast it. So we're hooked in the nose. Let's see if we can get a sharp tooth critter on a sharp waterwolf hook.
Always, always, always sharpen your hooks, especially after you snag up with a piece of wood or hit rocks. That's just going to dull out your hooks. So we're always checking our hooks to make sure they're extra sharp. I usually just poke them with my thumb a little bit to see if it digs into my thumbnail. That kind of tells me that my hook's sharp enough. Losing fish on dull hooks sucks. And taking 2 minutes to file your hooks could mean catching a big fish. Good to go. It's crazy how many people don't actually sharpen their hooks.
Some are hanging on the outside of the grass. That's a smallmouth tendency. So it's very sporadic, where with, you know, my experience in the bass world, you can predict, okay, I'm targeting smallmouth, so I'm going to look for, you know, X, Y, and Z. And if I'm looking for largemouth, I'm going to do A, B, or C. But with this, it's anywhere from A to Z.
It can be, yeah.
You know, they're really varied in their habits.
Yes.
So
I mean, sometimes, like when you have like really windy days, or when the wind is pounding the shoreline, sometimes rocky points are good, you know, big boulders and rocky points, but we lack that over here. We don't have as many rocky points and rocks up here. It's all sand and weeds. It's pretty much all we have over here, so there's not many rock piles to choose from. There's one over there, it's an okay spot, but
no, it definitely sounds like, but I mean, they don't call them the fish of 10,000 casts for nothing.
yeah, exactly.
And you know, at the rate we're going today, I think I've got about 9,700 casts left to go before I have to worry about finding one. But I'm going to cast until my arm falls off, or hopefully I hook a fish first. But you know, it's definitely something different, and not a bad way to spend the day and get a little workout, at least for one arm.
We're all looking for the perfect escape. Some of us want to slow down, be still, and savor, while others are always in search of the next boundary to push. The perfect escape means something different to everyone, but the common thread is connecting to what brings us to another world, one that's just the perfect amount of away. Book your escape. Visit tourismnewbrunswick.ca.
If you're new to musky fishing, like me, your best bet is to seek out some advice from experienced anglers about what the must-have baits are. Musky baits, let's face it, they're not cheap. So when you're starting, get yourself the best selection of baits that's going to help ensure that you're going to come out and you're going to have successful outings. The first must-have bait, and it's as simple as it gets, it's an inline spinner. As I said, these are an inline spinner, 2 treble hooks with a bucktail style covering over the hooks. Throw it out and retrieve it. Ryan has laid out his selection of must-have baits. Now, Ryan, why don't you tell us just quickly what these baits are that the folks are looking at and what each one of them is best utilized for.
Sure. So this morning we got our fish on a Bulldog by Musky Innovations soft plastic. These are good for a pull pause motion. The fish tend to hit it on the downward pause. This here is a rubber swim bait made by Water Wolf. It's called the Shadzilla. This here, it can also be worked in a pull pause or just a straight retrieve for when the fish seem a bit more active. This here is called the jerk bait. This is a dive and rise jerk bait. So when you give it a pull, the bait's gonna go down and it's gonna slowly rise up. It's gonna go down, slowly rise up. You can also get jerk baits which go side to side, like a walk the dog style. We call those glide baits. And these here, this is a trolling crankbait. You can cast them, but they're more popular to be used for trolling because of the torque and the pressure it puts on your arms when you're reeling them in, because they dive so deep. This one here is one that I made myself. Get down to about 15-20 feet.
These 5 basic baits would allow someone to set themselves up as a beginning musky angler, and obviously with musky there's no guarantee of success, but if you put these 5 baits in your tackle box, you're going to greatly increase your chance of a successful musky outing. Guys, we just wanted to take a minute and talk to you about the gear. We've talked some already since this excursion started about our baits and the different selections we're using there, but there's a whole lot more to it than that. The rod and reel choices you make can be a total game changer about whether or not you land these big muskies. So Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit, when it comes to casting applications, what is it you look for in your rod and reel combinations, and also line selection as well?
So the first thing I'm going to look for is backbone. So I'm using an 8'6" extra heavy Okuma EVX casting rod. Now you need a rod that has plenty of backbone for not only throwing these big heavy baits, but for setting the hook when one of those big fish hits. You need to be able to have the power in that rod to handle it. Line selection, I prefer to use when I'm casting 65 to 80 pound Power Pro, Suffix, doesn't really matter to me, but you want to have that big heavy line to take the abuse of us throwing these big heavy baits all day long. So musky reels come in many shapes and sizes. I prefer to stick to 300 and 400 sizes. Now that refers to the spool size and how much line it's going to hold. Next I'm looking for is my gear ratio and the types of handles I use. When I'm using rubber baits or something that I can pull pause, I want to be able to pick up as much line as I can on the pause. So that in that case, a higher gear ratio is going to pick up more line as on the pause. Power handles are very, very important for inline spinners or baits that are going to push a lot of water. If you don't have the proper gear ratio or handle on the reel, you're just going to put a lot of strain on your forearms and shoulders.
So by selecting the right gear, you're going to increase your chances of catching a fish, but the other thing you're going to do is you're going to preserve your own body so you can do it day after day.
Hurry up! Come on, boys. Come on. Oh. Ready? He's coming.
I got it. Look at the colors. Ryan, I'll get this net out of your way.
Beautiful colors. Yeah, nice little fish. Awesome, time to go back. And she's ready to go. I'm just gonna let her go. She is ready. Awesome, slime time.
Nice job.
What we're talking about.
Earlier on, we stopped for a quick little coffee break, and we were talking about moon phases affecting musky fishing. And I personally don't know a lot about the moon phases, but Ryan was telling us, the majors and the minors in the moon cycle each day, and how they tend to affect the fishing. Now he says the fish we caught this morning was in a major, and the hookup I just had, we are just starting into a minor. Ryan, can you explain that a little more to those of us like myself that really aren't familiar with that?
So we've got about an hour and a half left of this minor. So this is probably going to be our best shot for a fish for the rest of today, because like I said earlier, the weather's been stable. Today isn't supposed to be a very good day fishing wise. But there's numerous fishing apps that you can get on your phone that show you all the majors, minors, your moonrise, moonset, sunrise, sunset. I highly suggest getting one of those on your phone and planning your days around them. You don't have to necessarily always plan your day around it, but every time I'm going out, I'm going to look at that app because I want my highest chance of catching a fish.
Thank you for being safe, for being fun, for being strong. Thank you for taking a tour, or seeing old friends, or new places. Thank you for visiting your own backyard and rediscovering its beauty. Thank you for having fun and being sensible about it. Thank you for visiting your province and falling in love again. Thank you, New Brunswick. Let's keep going.
I believe there's a couple in here. A couple of them smaller. So I've been working something new, trying to get these fish to cooperate. And I finally hooked into something here. Oh buddy, that's a big fish. Oh man, did he crunch that.
There he is.
Oh my God. That's my biggest muskie ever. That's my biggest fish ever. Oh, hold on, he's not ready yet. Oh my God, that's heavy. Do you see the size of that, Jane? That there is a Fredericton St. John River muskie coming to the boat nice and slow. Come here, buddy. Oh, he's feeling dry. Okay, come in this side. Okay. Oh. Okay. Get ready, head first, okay, Jane? Head first. Get in there. All of it.
Got it.
Scoop him. Yes! Oh! That there is why you come to Fredericton, baby. Monster Muskellunge. Oh my God, he's heavy. Oh. Right here in Fish East, you get down to Freddy Beach, you get you some of this musky action right here. Yeah! You gotta let him go to let him grow, folks. Let him go to let him grow. Gotta be patient. Change up your tactics when nothing's working and never give up. And you'll be rewarded with a beast like that. Go on, girl. Thank you. Put such a good fight up. Oh. I'm telling you, this is the apex predator. Yep. Oh, thank you. You know, we fished all day yesterday. We moved from fish. We fished all kinds of lures, from bucktails to bulldogs and stuff. And I went home last night to talk to Ange, and she's like, you know, maybe you just need to try something a little bit different, get your confidence going. So I went with what I knew, and what I know from where I'm from is how to jig. River tide jig. You've seen that before. Extended shank on a Z-Man Heroes, basically a giant jerk shad. And I was just working that in 6 to 8 feet. That big leader, 50-pound braid, right? Full musky setup. Third cast, I popped that down into the weeds, I ripped it out, and immediately I felt that strike. So just a change up of what we've been throwing between bulldogs and moving baits. I decided to go more vertical on it, and that time it paid off. So never be scared to try something different. You know me, that's what I always do. So worked out this time.
Catch them shallow, I can catch them deep. Muddy water or the back of the creek. Wind and rain to me.
The only word I can use when it comes to fishing these.
I get to be a fisherman.